So this is an interesting story. Where does it all begin? I guess the best way is to rewind all the way back to 20th of March 2003, the start of Gulf War II. I think it goes without saying that the war was an absolute disaster by all accounts. Where do I start? From the false narrative of weapons of mass destruction to the ongoing instability within the country, we are a long way from the Iraq that was hoped for after the fall of the Ba'ath Party. Despite sitting on huge oil and gas reserves, the country has an estimated budget deficit of around $42 billion for the year 2020. Couple this with an anemic private sector, the current economic outlook is pretty dire. The war officially ended on 1st of May that year, a period of 1 month, 1 week and 4 days. President Bush famously gave a speech on the USS Abraham Lincoln where he declared an end to combat operations. The celebrations proved very short-lived, however, because not long after that speech, a bloody insurgency gripped the nation in which thousands of American lives were lost. Former members of the Ba'ath Party, coupled with Iranian militia and various other actors, poured into Iraq to create a living hell for the American soldiers and other occupying forces. I think it's fair to say that the victory was in fact a hollow victory. I think one notable feature of the conflict was the use of drone warfare for precision strikes and the like. I think this was best exemplified on the 3rd of January 2020 when Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general of the powerful and influential Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, was assassinated on the outskirts of Baghdad International Airport. Qasem Soleimani had long been a thorn in the side of the Western powers due to his tactical prowess and successes within the Middle Eastern theatre of war. He was adept at organizing Iranian resistance to the American occupation of Iraq. He was also very successful in turning the tide of the Syrian civil war in favor of the Assad regime, so all in all he proved to be a very high value target to the Americans. Returning to the use of drones in Iraq, there is one very ironic story behind the particular use of this weapon within the Iraq theatre of war. Let me take a moment and explain what I mean. So I guess this is the part of the story that gets really interesting when we start looking at drones in general and how they were developed and who invented them. Conflicts within the last 20 years have quite clearly demonstrated how revolutionary drones have become within the modern battlefield. You can have operators sitting thousands of miles away who can fire hellfire missiles onto any target without actually risking their own lives. So from that viewpoint alone, it's a very cost-effective method in which to conduct modern warfare. So, how did the modern drone come about? Well, meet this guy, Abraham Karem. Abraham Karem has had a long and distinguished career within the field of drones. He almost single-handedly created what we now know as the modern drone. I really have to give it to this guy because without doubt he really is a pioneer and a genius when it comes to the field of unmanned aerial vehicles. The guy has had a long and distinguished career both within the Israeli and the American defense industries. But I think the most ironic point about all of this is that the gentleman was actually born in Baghdad, of all places. So we've ended up with this rather bizarre situation where we have a guy born in Baghdad of Iraqi origin who's invented a weapon that has killed many of his fellow Iraqis. It's a story worth sharing in my opinion. I can't think of an analogous situation in modern warfare, not to my mind anyway. Thank you for watching. I hope to bring you more interesting content in the future. Until then, see you next time.